this is Kiwi Whispers. Before I get into this video, I just want to say that this is not the answers video to the questions video that I posted last. That will be the next video because I want to give you more time and another opportunity to ask some questions for that video next if you want to. So see my previous video if you don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, let's start this one. So on Friday the 13th of September, my siblings and my mum and I all went over to Melbourne, which is in Victoria, the state of Victoria in Australia. My oldest sister had a new baby boy, and we planned to go over to see them once he was born. And it was the first family holiday that we've had in a long time. So I'm just showing some pictures at the moment that I got along the way, and there's also some video that will play. The city of Melbourne is the second largest city in Australia after Sydney. There are, I think, just over 4 million people that live there, which is not far off the entire population of New Zealand. And we didn't go on a holiday per se. It was just more a visit, and we pretty much shopped every day and went to a different mall every day. So it turns out that my family liked to just go shopping. But as you can see here, we went to the zoo, the Melbourne Zoo, and we also went to the museum, which you'll see video of a bit later. The temperature when we went there it wasn't hot at all. It was just because we're coming into spring, just out of winter. And we probably only had about 3 fine days while we were there. We were there for 8 days in total. So I think that's mainly why we went shopping so much, because it was either raining or not warm enough to be outside. So it probably only got to about 16 degrees most days, which is about the same temperature back home. In fact, it was warmer when I went home, but anyway, it does get very hot there during summer, into the 40 degrees range. We saw all the typical zoo animals while we were there. The first thing we saw were those meerkat and their babies. That's alright, it was a bit of a flying visit, so strange noises. What else? The seal demonstration that we stopped to watch. It's just all about protecting the oceans from rubbish, basically, not to litter in the ocean, because it will kill all the seals. So the seal was trained to just do some tricks, like you can see here. And there he goes. And of course the penguins, which look like they have little floaty devices on their arms. This guy is a platypus. She has big shiny eyes and a big, I don't know, what do you call that, a beak? Beaks only on birds. And the lions, I must say it's a little bit sad seeing these beautiful wild animals in a cage. Where humans stand around and watch them and poke their fingers inside the cage. I'm sure that the animals are happy enough, but they're wild and they should be out in the wild doing their thing, hunting prey. But I suppose a lot of it is preserving the species, which is what zoos are for. They preserve the life of the species. But there's not a lot for them to do, really. They just lay about all day. And then we went into the snake and reptile house, where we saw all sorts of snakes and lizards, like this guy. This guy was pretty cool. I'm not much of a snake sort of person, so I was quite glad that there was a thick glass between us. But I like the look of this guy. He's got nice skin, and then he did the "what's up" face to me. And that fella in there is a big boa constrictor. It looked like he desperately wanted to get out. This guy was quite funny. You'll see in a second that when he sees me, he gets a bit of a fright. And wants to eat me. Although I probably frightened him just as much. And then he just goes and crawls over his buddy here. And this guy was favourite. Look at him go. He was on the move. He can't get away from me quick enough. Running off like that. As quickly as possible. But he was huge. He was probably much bigger than I am. It was nice though, catching up with the rest of the family. We hadn't been all together like that for a number of years. So we got some nice family photos. Went out to dinner a lot and did things together. We kind of all just took turns at making dinner and lunch. Just went to like the supermarket and got a whole bunch of stuff. Then went back to my sister's house and just had a nice time together. And looking after my new nephew. In this photo you can see these wild humans in their natural habitat, wearing high-vis vests. They're very rare. And these otters came out for about a split second to see me, then went straight back in their hole. A lot of these sort of animals are from Australia, mostly, like these stingrays and other snakes and sea life. I love those seals. Probably my favourite animal. Apart from baby elephants, which I saw one as well, and penguins. I was kind of surprised because they had the snakes and the lizards and like tortoises in the same enclosure. So I'm surprised they don't eat each other. And the crocs, the gators, and this little guy coming up soon who looks so cool. Gave me the eagles. This guy here, he's so cute. Look at his eyes. You can't see me, but I see you. For some reason I do this thing that it's as though they're talking to me when they look at me like they do. I give them voices. Hey, I'm up here. Take my photo. I'm up here, mate. I'm going to kill you and eat you. Oh yeah, do you mind if I just rest my arm on you, mate? I'll just use your shell as a pillow. I've been trying to do this video for the longest time since I've been back, but it just hasn't been working. So I'm sorry about the delay in getting it out. And there's the kangaroos there. They were out in the open and you could just go up to them, but sort of pays not to because they might kick you somewhere you don't want to be kicked. And they were in here with the emus. And that is a wombat, which looks like an oversized rabbit. And the kookaburra, Here's my favourite baby elephant. And again, I was sad that they were behind these prison bars. And you could tell all they wanted to do was just be out. Yeah, the pretty butterflies. I haven't been to Australia for several years. And I forgot that our accents are a bit different. And people straight away were like, "Are you from New Zealand? Are you a Kiwi?" And they made fun of my accent. Like if I said, "I want a lemon, lime and bitter," a drink, they were like, "Bitters? What are bitters?" So I had to say a lemon, lime and bitter. Or we ordered fish and chips one night. So I said, "Can we get $5 of chips?" They're like, "Chops? Do you want some chops?" Anyway, most of you won't understand what I'm talking about because you won't know the difference in the accent, but any Aussies or Kiwis listening know that we like to make fun of each other, all in good spirit. So this is the Melbourne Museum, and this was a room full of stuffed animals, which all looked incredibly real. I'm not one to be terribly excited by a museum, but the Melbourne Museum was actually quite interesting, and I quite enjoyed it. These were all sort of the African wildlife, all the different types. So the next video I do, I will be answering the questions that you submitted to the last video I made. This video that you're seeing here at the moment, this was a really neat piece of art. It worked basically like a piano, where it has strings, and they were obviously driven by a motor or something, and all these different pieces moved to form this big wing shape sculpture. And it was amazing the way it was made. This was quite funny. I was in the gift shop looking at the boomerangs and didgeridoos. So I was filming away, and one of the ladies that worked at the shop came up to me and said, "There's no filming here, please." So I kept on filming. But then I left. And I didn't buy anything from them. But anyway, I know none of you will some